Dude. When I'm on Tinder, I just like swipe right for everyone. You ever just swipe? You just swipe right all the time?
Dude, what?
Yeah, bro. Yeah, like it's more chances of getting laid if you just swipe right every time, dude.
Dude. What?
Yeah, dude. It's just like it's like a numbers game. Like if I'm fucking swiping right, then I have more chance of getting it, bro.
Dude, this is fuckboy energy, man.
Dude, I get mine.
That's dude.
Dude.
That you're a fuckboy.
Dude! What's going on, all you freaky fuckboys? My name is Mason.
My name is Grayson.
And welcome to The Modern Dude.
A podcast by dudes for dudes, helping dudes become
Not
better
be fuckboys.
dudes. And also that.
Dude! Urban Dictionary defines a fuckboy as such: a guy who will tell a girl anything to get them to hook up with them. Dudes, this is not the way of the modern dude.
This is not the way. Not the way.
So yeah, we're talking about fuckboys. This one's going to be a little bit lighter, a little bit more fun, a little bit flirty, a little weird.
A little bit more fact.
Boy.
Nice.
Nailed it.
My guy.
Dude.
Okay.
Yeah, it's stupid and it's funny, but there's also like, it's a thing. It's a very real thing in our society of guys having a mentality of just like going out and getting theirs and not thinking about the consequences or other people that they leave in their wake.
Yeah, man. And this one really, I think, is good because it relates specifically. This is, we like to have conversations that are a little bit more broad, not just completely focused on dudes, even though this is a dude improvement podcast.
But then we're bringing it back.
But we need, sometimes.
Bring it in.
Sometimes we like to really, specify something that men specifically can do better. Mm-hmm. And this is one of those things, man. This is like the fuckboy energy is. There's some layers to it because you can do something fuckboyish and not be a fuckboy, but there also is like repeated behaviors that will 100% classify you as a fuckboy. I think I speak for every guy on the planet when I say that, most all of us have done something fuckboyish.
Oh yeah.
In some way, shape, or form. It is not learning from that and continuing to go about that type of behavior that keeps you in the fuckboy arena, I guess.
Yeah.
Where we pit fuckboys against each other and gladiator fight. Yeah.
So I'm going to give you a little history on where the word came from.
I would like to know as much as possible about this.
I thought it was funny, and I thought it was particularly funny that this came from menshealth.com.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Menshealth.com used the term fuckboy.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yes. So this is from Men's Health.
Sure.
The first example of fuckboy that can be, it's like in either a song or written down, is actually in the 2002 song Boy Boy by Cameron.
Oh, it's a Cameron reference.
Yeah, he says,
really?
Fuckboy, and he's referring to someone as a faker.
Yeah, like a bitch. Yeah, like somebody
so
who's
like
not
it's popular in hip hop before it became mainstream.
For sure. I didn't know it was as far back as *02, and I didn't realize it was like Cameron, like an OG.
Cameron.
Like that's funny,
Isn't
man.
that funny? Yeah.
He what's funny about it is he probably just didn't even realize he was like making a phrase. Probably.
Yeah.
He was just probably like you're doing like fuck shit. You're being like a fuck boy. Like you're not.
Because the difference between the second kind of what made it popular, evidently, where it really started to like gain more notoriety was from our boys Run the Jewels.
Well, I think it's been just like taken and used in like people have just used the phrase a lot more, but I think like.
But this was 2014 is where.
Yeah. I know the.
Oh
I
My
know the
Darling,
song.
Don't Cry.
It's like my favorite Run the Jewels song of all time. Easily. Darling, darling. That sample is fucking incredible.
Killer
I
Mike
worded
says
that
it in his in one of his verses. And the way it's used in his hip hop is more like a faker, like someone who's a loser, just like a.
That's how it's referred to in hip hop in general. I
Yes.
feel like when people say like you're a fuckboy, like it's not pertaining to like it just means you're lame. Like you're doing.
That's exactly
like,
what I said.
You're doing like lame shit.
The quote he said is, "The way you can identify fuckboys is because they are always doing fuck shit."
Right, yeah. Like,
Just the dumbest, weirdest, lamest possible shit ever.
yeah, you're just like lame. Like
Yeah.
you're not cool. You don't do anything that's like dope or whatever.
Yeah.
You're just like fucking around.
Yeah.
Like you're not doing.
You're fake.
You're fake. Yeah, it's just
So-
all bullshit.
So then from that though, like it became popular in the mainstream, and it became more of like fuckboys were what the definition I read on Urban Dictionary, which are like guys that just like play with girls' emotions and tell them whatever they want to hear just to get in their pants.
Just to get laid. Yeah, which is really lame.
Yeah. Which is kind of more what we are talking about.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, two-pronged.
Yeah.
You all right over there?
No, I'm dying.
Okay.
And
Two-pronged is what it is. Like, also don't be that. Like, don't be like a fuck. Don't be a faker. Like, don't be like a fuck
Sure.
shit. You know, like, be better than just like a fuck
Yeah.
out. You know, which is like goes without saying.
but that's just an insult, whatever.
Right. But specifically, we want to talk about like what it means in like
As far as pertaining mostly to women.
to women. Yeah. And the treatment of such.
Yeah, because like that energy is like it's just exactly the opposite of everything we're just talking about on the podcast.
Right.
It's the antithesis of what the modern dude is.
Exactly.
Being a guy that just is so self-absorbed and only focused on getting theirs,
Yeah.
it's just that's such a bad way to go about life.
That shit is lame, bro.
Is it? Yeah, it's fuckboy.
And it's
energy.
like I feel like it's one of those things. It's similar to like a locker room talk type thing, Like I think guys, and there's a difference when those are like jokes and when it really.
It's the broiest of bro kind of.
Yeah, exactly.
Energy.
Yeah, it's like talking about how, like comparing yourself and considering it cooler or better if you are getting laid as opposed to you're like lame if you're not is so like the validation in which like guys need to feel like, oh yeah, well I fucked her. And I also fucked her, and it's like, oh yeah, well I fucked her. Oh yeah, well I'm like, dude, shut the fuck up. You're so lame.
It's like putting trophies in a case instead of like realizing that they're playing with people's emotions.
Yeah.
And leaving this wake of disaster of women's
right
feelings in their wake.
And this isn't to say that a fuck girl doesn't exist, because trust me. That shit is real. That
sure.
also very much exists.
For
that
sure.
like women can do the same thing. Like
course.
this goes both ways. It's not just a fully guy thing. There's plenty of
that energy. Absolutely.
I've been on the tail end of receiving that, like a woman who I kind of like and I think is whatever, and I'm like kind of into it, and then she kind of is. Pretended like she was into it as well so we could hook up, and then I got like pushed to the side or ghosted, and like that's a real thing. Like that can happen both ways.
Are you okay?
Well, hey, what's funny is this is another thing to talk about, and because I'm not supposed to show that I'm not okay about it. You know what I mean? Being a guy, like a guy isn't supposed to.
Oh yeah.
I was like, yeah, I don't care about her anyway. Like whatever. Like, fuck. I mean, she was a bitch. Fuck that.
Yeah.
It's like, but it's okay to like, it kind of stung. Like, of course, like that happens. And so I guess, and we just wanted to make that clear. I mean, I just wanted to make that clear, like up front, that like, it can go both ways 100%. We're not saying that like, as guys, like all women are completely, fully emotionally.
Of course. Most,
yeah.
completely above us and
and they're like completely, like
they have their
trust
shit
me,
together
that
and
shit
they don't
exists.
no, of course, but we're
but
speaking to guys and this is this is more prevalent with guys
For sure.
and the term is very much directed towards guys.
It's about communication. It's about talking to someone and being upfront. A lot of guys. The problem is if you're going to say something, if you want to hook up with somebody, it's a thin line. There's body language that can be read. There's a lot of ways that it's like, is this going to be just a hookup or is this going to whatever? And, I feel like we should normalize kind of saying upfront what it is, because a lot of the time there's like this game that needs to be played that it's like, oh, there's a mystery. Does he really like me?
There's some of that's the fun of it,
and that's
and
of course and
the
I like
unknown
that.
and like the feeling it out, that's cool.
Sure, but like they're also like at a certain point, like if you know that you're someone who gets very like emotionally attached sexually, you need to be like,
or emotionally, or both,
or either one. It's like, if you know that you're that type, you need to be like, hey, like, I want to just hook up and have fun.
I want to lick you from your head to your toe. When I want to move from the dead down to the flow. When I want to, you're so good, I don't want to leave, no, what is your fit?
So yeah, if you're one of those people who, I
want to get you on that. I'm sorry.
No fucking more. It's like, I just feel like it should be normalized a bit more to be like, hey, I'm just looking to kind of like keep it light, but I do want to hook up and I just want to kind of have fun in that way. That should be okay. I feel like sometimes people take like offense to that or something, and it's like, no, that's just as much as I can give to this. Or it's, I am looking for something a little bit more, whatever, and let's take it. Like, there's just never communication about it, and then somebody just hooks up, and then all of a sudden people are catching feelings, and then someone's like, oh, well, my intention the whole time was just to kind of get laid and then move on. And you made it seem like you might want to date or you might want to get to know somebody and want more just to then.
And some of that, and I think there is a class. It's been a long time since I've been in this world. Mm-hmm. Harkening back to my college days, like there was some time where it's like you start like flirting with somebody and then you're like, I don't know what I actually do want. So then you can fall into fuckboydom on accident because you're indecisive.
Of course.
But I think that's still, you could probably communicate that out and just be like, I don't really know what I want right now. I like what we're doing. But I think you can communicate that, and then you don't just like, it's then also like there's the world where like you're doing this with like a bunch of different chicks.
Right.
And like, I don't know how I've never been in a situation where I was hooking up with multiple girls at
the same time.
That was just never my lane.
Sure.
So I can't speak a lot to that.
Well, it's still something that like needs to be communicated. Like even that can be like, hey, I'm kind of seeing some other people too, and I'm just
that can be talked about. I think,
if they're like, oh well, I'm not into that kind of thing, it's like, okay, then you're not into that kind of thing.
I think it's
sorry.
I think what it is, it's just fucking being an adult.
Yes.
Like that shit is like, if you're doing that shit in college, like, okay,
it's kind of the time for it.
Yeah. But like once you get into your 20s and on, like you can start like, people appreciate communication.
People appreciate emotional intelligence.
Yes.
It's about emotional intelligence.
And women especially do.
100%.
So if you were, obviously you don't need to be so forthright, like out the gun. Like you don't want to be like, hey, I'm banging other people. Is that all right? It's like, that kind of just kind of ruined it all.
True. Yeah.
But I think that, if that conversation comes up, there's no need for lying.
There's no need for lying, and there's no need to. I feel like someone is very. People are very quick to like shame somebody else or make somebody feel really, really bad about that. Like if you were to be hooking up with other people and you kind of start seeing someone, you're like, hey, just to let you know, like, I'm also kind of dating other people or whatever. Yeah. What? How dare you? Like, I thought, well, it's like, stop. Like, you made expectations about a thing. This person early enough on is being honest with you about where they're at. If you don't like that, be like, I'm sorry, that's just not my thing. I like to be exclusive with somebody if I'm dating them and if I'm seeing them.
And that person's going to be okay with it because they're seeing other people.
And if they're not okay with it,
because they already
fuck
said that.
them. If they're not okay with it, that's fuckboy shit.
Yeah.
Like, sorry, but like, as much as they get to do that, you get to do what you want to do.
Yeah.
And if you don't feel comfortable with that thing, then you just move the fuck on, and they got to be fucking cool with that. Like, it is what it is, you know?
Yeah.
Like, but it should be talked about. Like, it should be.
It's just communication.
The fuckboy shit is to either get mad when she's like, well, sorry, but I'm good.
Then you'd be like, thank you. Next.
Yeah. Full Ariana. Or to not talk about it and just continue to whatever. And then the longer you continue and the longer you don't talk about it,
out of that hole.
yeah, it's just like, well, that's fuckboy energy, because you know deep down why you're not letting that come to, the table, why you're not talking about it. You know why you're doing that, because you're afraid that they're not going to want to be around, and you want to keep getting the old D wet. And that's lame, man. You don't like the D wet?
Yeah.
That's a weird phrase, yeah.
The old, I think it was the old.
Ew, don't age it.
You did it. You aged it.
Well, no, but that's just a phrase. The old.
Yeah, but I know. But I thought about it in the context of like, ugh.
That's a you problem. It's like a weird you thing. That's gross.
The words came out of your mouth.
The old. Not the old wet.
Yeah, but
penis.
I'm just saying, you didn't say old. It was there was a hard D.
Was it that hard? We got to roll the tape back.
Oh, it's hard and wet.
This is
and old.
We're off the rails. Yeah, that energy that's not good. I just feel like
it
should just be okay to communicate stuff like this, especially now in the world we're living in. Like,
they're gonna find out eventually.
Everything always gets found out.
So
everything.
Maybe the hunt is, or like keeping the secrets is why fuckboys do what they do. They like that.
Yeah, there's some people that get off on it.
It's just not healthy, though.
That's fuckboy energy.
Yeah, it's fuckboy. You know what? If you do it and you know it, I mean, kind of more power to you, but also, like, you're still a fuckboy, and that's still shitty of you to do that.
Shitty of you to do that.
But I don't know.
Well, because, like, another thing about this is, like, I don't want to shame anybody for, like, what they like and how they would like to go about relationships and how they like to do whatever.
You could do it in a communicative way.
But, yeah, you're just,
or if your partner doesn't care or doesn't ask,
with
that's fine.
Yeah, you're fucking with other people, though. Like that's when it becomes an issue for me. If you're like,
it's when they have an expectation and yours is different, and you don't talk about it.
You are aware that their expectation is different. Once you realize that they actually do kind of like you and they do sort of whatever, and you know what? You're full of shit if you can't pick up on that really early on.
Yeah.
People like to play dumb, like they're not like good like reads of character and like can read if a girl. And you know what? The truth is, a lot of people actually aren't good at reading. Like people. Like guys that go up and a girl's like, I'm with my friends, leave me alone. Leave her alone. Like sometimes they're just like, it's either two things. They really aren't reading it right. And they're like, nah, she's feisty. She wants to have the fight. Or they're just ignoring it because they're too insecure to get denied. So they're just going to keep fighting until like, maybe she says yes. And then I'll feel better when I go home. It's like
when I go home and masturbate with my tears.
To the thought. No, that's a wet dick.
Old wet dick.
But yeah, like that's okay. That is, I don't know. You can tell if you go on a date with somebody and she's like very into you, or the other person's like and the guy's like really into you. Like you can tell pretty much off the bat that there's a good back and forth, and if it's flowing right, and you can start to really tell. And if you want to go on another one, and then you guys are kind of texting, going on another date, you're kind of like texting more the way, like you can tell within that first date or so. So maybe say. Like
I don't know, but the first date, that's a far cry. I feel like I think it's when the conversation happens. Be like, hey, I'm like really into you, and you're like,
but that's what I mean. That's gonna come up between first date and second date area.
You think that early?
So. Well, I mean, like they're not gonna say that, but like you can kind of tell that, you know,
that, like you can still be seeing other people up until like that conversation is like
For sure.
Until the like, I want to be exclusive.
I'm just saying you can pick up that somebody's
Oh, you can.
into
Oh,
you.
absolutely. Of
I'm not
course.
saying no. I'm just saying like within first date to second
Yeah.
date, like the first date goes well, you guys go off,
Sure.
and you guys are texting and kind of planning for the second date. Like you can kind of pick up.
I mean, if
that
you're getting a
someone's-
second date, then you've obviously done something right.
right? So I think by that point, you got to be like, if where you are isn't quite where you feel like they are, you need to like talk about it. You need to like say like, hey, I'm kind of trying to take this slower. I'm kind of trying to whatever. I'm also kind of seeing other people. I just want that to be like clear, but I really like you.
I think
And
that's very mature.
You
way
know?
to do it. I think that's a good way to do it.
And I think on the problem is on the flip, I think the other person feels like they don't want to, like when somebody says that, it's kind of hard if that's not where you are.
Yeah.
So what, instead of being like, it's not really my thing. I really, really do like you and maybe I can try this, but like, I just want you to know that's not really my thing and I might not be able to like move forward.
Yeah.
A lot of people just lie and they go, oh no, I'm cool with that. Yeah, I'm totally cool with that. I'm seeing other people too.
Reverse
No, you're
fuckboy
not.
energy? What do we call that?
Not the reverse Uno card.
We call that, I don't know.
I don't know. Backwards. Well, what's fuck backwards? Cuckoff. Cuckoff boy.
Cuckoff yob.
I'm a cuckoofoib.
Cuckoff
Cuckoofoib.
yob. Cuckoff yob.
Yob. Oib. That's funny.
Cuckoff yob. Don't be a cuckoff yob either.
It's the backwards it's like it be okay. There's always another fish in the sea, man. Be okay with like
Cuckoff yob.
cuckoff yob. Be okay with with being like that
True to
isn't my
yourself.
thing. Like be true to yourself, man. Like it's okay.
And also,
to
if you
not
don't
have
want
to lie
to, if
about
you don't
that.
want to know, I think that's okay for like the first like week or couple of weeks too. You
Yeah,
know,
for sure.
It's when it starts getting like a month down the road and like, what is this? What are we
Right.
doing here?
Right.
That conversation has to happen, and it generally happens pretty quick. You know, with the first few weeks. I don't know.
Right.
When the conversation happens, you gotta either talk about it or you gotta stop seeing the other people. You know.
Right. I think there's also, and that's
You
kind
just
of a
start
different
turning-
thing.
that's-
Than,
you just turn into a fuckboy. You start being shitty.
but that's kind of like almost a different thing. Like that's still fuckboy energy, but that's even kind of a different thing than what I think the true like fuckboy mentality is, because the fuckboy mentality doesn't let it go till a month. Like the fuckboy mentality, I mean, unless you're like really are seeing a bunch of other people and you're trying to keep it all secret. I think I'm kind of talking more about like, because they want to get laid, they will say whatever it takes, like up front.
Yeah.
And if you can tell that maybe like a woman is like impressionable, and you're like, well, you know, I can tell that she's, by her body language, the way she's
Sure.
looking at me, she's like at least attracted to me. So if I just say like a bunch of bullshit things like that she wants to hear, like I know guys that
Of course.
have seen like a girl and like be like, she's hot, but you know, I don't like the way that she talks and we have nothing in common and whatever. But that doesn't matter to them. And because I can't, if I don't like you as like a person, if I'm not like into you as like a human, I'm probably not
Pursuing it for
because
either, yeah.
because that's me not being truthful. That's me like, because I'm just doing it to just like get my jollies off. Like I'm not. That's literally me bullshitting you just so I can get something from you that I want. Like I'm not being honest about like who I am and what this is. You know what I mean?
Oh,
I'm like
yeah.
that's kind of to me. It's just sort
Oh,
of
that's I mean, that's like the Urban Dictionary definition. It's like
right.
getting yours regardless of what the other person is bringing to the table.
And if you can tell that the other person like is sensitive or impressionable, and the fact that you can like you're like manipulating
that, yeah.
them, that's fuckboy shit.
Yeah.
That's fuckboy shit. Just or whatever, and you're like, wow, I hate the way this person is speaking. I do not like their timbre of their voice,
But she's gonna look good naked in bed.
but I'm gonna I wanna have sex with it though. Like
It.
that. Come on, man. Yeah. I mean, that's how they're looking at it though, right?
Piece of meat, yeah.
Piece of meat. Like they literally are viewing it
Have
as
sex with it. Oh,
an
God.
object. It's an object at that point. And that is wildly fuckboy energy. Like I won't really ever condone. Like it's okay, man, because they're valid. They feel validated if they have sex. If they're not having sex, they don't feel like as validated or like as much of a man or whatever. And that's another stigma in society because other guys push that on other guys. They're like, oh well, if you're not, I'm getting fucking laid tonight for sure. Okay. So good for you, brah. Like, it's not a fucking competition, man. It just isn't that. And that is such a fuckboy mindset to think that it is a competition, to think that you're not? No, I'm not, bro. Because I got other shit I got to do and I have other standards and I want to like the person and it's not about a fucking numbers game. That shit at the end of the day leaves you fucking alone and fucking unfulfilled because you just think you're supposed to do this. You think you're supposed to. That makes you better who you are.
Yeah, imposing its will on you, and you're fucking giving into it.
It's bullshit, man. Yeah. Like to think that, like it's okay to go periods of time, not whatever, because it's not the right person or it's not the right organic interaction or meet. I'm not saying like one night stands can't still happen.
No,
because they can. Like it's like, and that's fine, but that can be like an organic kind of. Yeah. You know, you see somebody at the bar and you really vibe with them. Like, it's not like, well, she wants to, and I'm not really into her, but she's drunk. And it's like, it can be better than that. It can be nicer than that.
That sounds getting weird.
But that's like, that is such a thing though, man.
Oh, yeah.
And it's sad. You know, like, I'm not saying that an easy, organic one night stand can still happen, but you have to like, see it for what it is and let it organically happen instead of trying to manipulate it and make it something that it fucking isn't. You know?
Meaningless sex can be toxic at some point too.
Meaningless sex, 100%. That fucks with your fucking head.
It does. It's like porn at some point. Like I'm not shitting on porn or you know like one night stands, but like that can definitely fuck with your what
if
goes
there's
on.
too much of it. Yeah. And
it starts becoming mundane and like. Or like twisting your mind into something that you don't necessarily like want. It's like it's just not. Yeah.
Right. And I think that at its core is just it's such a thing that I wish guys could, and that I want to like kind of like break that mold because it's just so.
Well, it comes down to guys holding other guys accountable, like what we're trying to do here. You know, it's like that's so not necessary. It is that locker room mentality of like guys pushing guys to do things that only guys want.
Right.
It's not like a thing that has to happen, or it's not a thing that you're doing it because it's cool or because other guys think it's cool. It's like no, guy, just do what you want to do. Like you don't have to be the guy going out and putting numbers on a board of how many girls you got, you know.
Dude, that's so fucking weak.
Yeah.
Shit is weak, man. And then like it turns into it becomes even
fuckboy.
It's fuckboy energy. And it becomes even more toxic because then, you know, like I've known dudes that have like lied about it.
Oh yeah.
And like I found out that they're lying about it and I'm just like I don't even want to like speak to you anymore.
Oh
man.
yeah.
I don't even want to fuck with you at all anymore because you're just a fucking.
That's gross.
You really thought it's that important to you that other guys think that you're getting laid, even though you're not. And I've spoken like there was like a situation where like this guy was like very like oh yeah like we definitely like we did everything like da 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 da, and I wound up like hearing from the girl because I knew the girl as well as like kind of a good friend. And it kind of came up organically, and she was like, "Oh no, we've never done anything." She was like, and I was like, and I didn't say anything. I wasn't like, "Well, he said." I was just like, and there it is right there. Like, why would she lie about that? Like, why would he? And even if she was, or he, it's just like I know her and I know her character, and I know that there's like no reason. She was like, honestly, he kind of tried, but it made me feel really uncomfortable, and I shut it down. I'm like, oh, of course you don't want to say that to us. Of course you don't want to tell us that she denied you because that would make you less of a man, right? It's just like, that's okay. Just be like, yeah, I kind of tried to, and she wasn't really feeling it, and it just didn't work out.
That's okay.
That's okay.
That's not even an L. That's just life. That's just like, that's just like.
It's a different kind of L.
Yeah.
It's life.
That's the big L of life.
Like, it is what it is. That's okay.
Not every girl is gonna like you. You don't have to. If you get rejected, we've all been there.
Ever, man.
Yeah.
And like you also, other people are different. Like there's also like we're roping in all guys together. Like they're all fucking like, I'm like, there's plenty of dudes that are just kind of like a little bit more reserved, a little bit more awkward, a little bit like they're not as like outgoing and whatever.
Yeah.
And so that's okay. You can still be that, and you'll find that match. Somebody will come around, and you'll meet that girl or that person who like really resonates with you in that way.
Likes your weird, awkward ass.
Yeah, and trust me, it's way more fun in the long term having sex with somebody that you like to have sex with.
Oh, yeah.
That toxic sex shit, I understand the appeal of it. I understand the like, yeah, but it's hotter because we hate each other. I'm like, yeah, but like,
What?
That's gonna be.
We can unpack that later.
That's gonna be. Oh, you never heard that? Like, I know it, but you know what? Not that extreme, but like, you know what I mean? Like, we know it's bad, and we know that it's not. Like me and her aren't supposed to be together, and it's not like we don't really match up at all. That's why the sex is hot.
Oh,
you
yes,
know, it's
yes,
like,
yes,
but
yes.
it's like, yeah, cool. But that's just gonna.
Happy in
Are you
there?
That's just gonna get worse.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
only going to lead to a more
sex is
toxic.
gonna get better.
But it's not all about the sex, brother.
No, it's
it
not.
just isn't, man. And that's the thing is they put it on a pedestal that like it is all about sex. And like sex is just one facet of many, many things that need to come together for you to have a happy, healthy, amazing like relationship that like pushes you and makes you better and grows. Like eventually you want that.
Yeah.
You know? And you know what? If you don't and you just want to like be single for your whole life and just kind of like have like fun sex partners, I'm not shaming that either.
No.
But to put it on a pedestal where like if you don't, you aren't like worthy or you aren't like a cool dude or you aren't like, dope or whatever, like that's fucking lame.
Yeah.
That's fuckboy shit.
I agree.
I kind of
100%.
tangent to
You went in there. Yeah, it's all right.
I'm passionate about it. That's how I feel.
Fuck those fucking fuckboys.
I just like don't relate to guys when they do that. Like when guys are like,
Well, it's
Yeah,
toxic.
dude, I mean,
It's society. It's what society has deemed what guys should do instead of what we should actually be doing.
Yeah.
Which is being good dudes and communicating well and like you just don't have. The point is that like you can still have a good time and you can still get laid and you can still fulfill those needs and be honest and open and communicate. That's it. You could just be a good guy and do all that shit too instead of being a shitty dude.
Yeah, and like looking at, like looking at women like objects or looking at women like, yo, I fucking bust that down. It's like, cool, man. Cool, man. So would fucking everybody else. Your dick isn't fucking special. Your dick isn't like God's gift to women. Like, oh, I would. Yeah, so would we all, man. Like, it's not like you're not gonna. And you know what? You're not gonna. Like, you're probably not gonna bust it down. Like, you're just not going to. Like, because you're just gonna sit here talking about it.
Chump that fucking masturbates way more than he ever gets laid.
Correct. Which all comes back down to insecurity anyway. So, like, when it's like, yo, like, I just don't want to sit around and, like, the conversation doesn't need to be. I just feel like a lot of guys need that for validation. They need to talk about it all the time.
They want to. Yeah, it makes them feel good. Inflated sense of self.
Yeah, exactly.
So don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that.
Because it's not attractive and it's toxic for other guys. Which is what we're trying to avoid here.
Be better.
Yeah.
Be modern. Be dude.
Transition.
Hope you've enjoyed what you've listened to today. If you're a fuckboy, leave a comment. We'd love to hear
your side.
We'd love to hear from some real fuckboys.
Give the fuckboy take.
And so, give the fuckboy take. See if we can meet you there. If we can find some sort of like middle ground to stand on. If you're watching on YouTube, definitely leave a comment, subscribe, turn on the notifications as we do this every week. If you're on, here on TikTok, if you're watching on Instagram, Facebook, We are The Modern Dude. Please engage on there as well. We love to hear from you. We comment on, we send a comment back to everybody, and we respond to everything. And we'd really love to hear from you, and we love the support so far. So appreciate it.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And don't forget,
Oh,
do y'all due diligence.
don't be a fuckboy.
Don't do it.